Hello, 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 everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Straight Talk with Dr. Sharmee Pratt. I am your host, Dr. Sharmee Pratt, and the studio with me today, I have Miss Telisha Berry. Today, we are going to be discussing overcoming fear and anxiety. Okay, you guys get ready. We are in for just a treat. We're going to actually just take a moment and discuss the fear, the panic, the anxiety that so many people either are dealing with right now or they have dealt with somewhere in their life. And so before we get started with this topic, I am going to introduce Miss Berry to you guys. Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm
I
doing
am I am enjoying the weather. It's a little colder than normal,
mhm.
but it's okay. I'm sitting here in the house with my bath open. So
Listen here. See, she didn't tell us she's enjoying the weather. And so now for you out there who may not have that type of weather that she has. So tell us, where are you from enjoying all this good weather?
well, I am originally from Flint, Michigan, where it's probably very cold, but currently in California, where it's almost always warm, but for some reason it's a little chillier today. And I actually am enjoying it. I just came back from Dubai a couple of days ago and it was extremely hot, but I
Oh,
loved it.
oh,
So the
wow.
weather, I enjoy the seasonal changes sometimes because I'm originally from Michigan.
Oh wow. Listen, she did not just say she didn't came from Dubai, y'all, like we was just gonna skip over that. Oh my goodness. Like she just said that like, hey, listen. Oh wow. So listen, Dubai. Yes, 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 yes. I'm coming, Dubai, honestly. So for all of you out there who wants to go to Dubai, listen. Miss Talisa just came back from Dubai and she said it was beautiful, and I'm quite sure the scenery was amazing. And
Yes,
so,
yes.
as we jump in here, Talisa, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and who are you?
Okay. Well, I am Telisha Berry on a personal level. I am a mom of four and a grandmom of one. And professionally, I am a magazine and book publisher, the publisher of Courageous Woman magazine. And we are celebrating 10 years this year of publishing. My baby started as a blog over 10 years ago. And we moved to a print publication with my only investment of $30. And today we have had over a, 100 cover stories, thousands of articles, and we have helped over 200 women tell their stories in our anthology. So I feel very blessed and honored to have walked through Courageous Woman, being courageous, and having the opportunity to connect with so many amazing women, women from all walks of life, women who have started their businesses with a little bit of nothing and making six and seven figures
Mm.
to celebrities such as Vanessa Bell Calloway, Wendy Raquel Robinson, and most recently Monique and Shirley Raff, and so many other amazing women who have courageous stories that inspire other people. That is our goal, to inspire women to do, to be, to have whatever they dream of.
Wow, 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 wow. That is amazing. Wow, simply amazing. Listen, so she has her own publication, right? And so we are going to find out a little bit more about that. But for those that are joining us and will even listen a little later, we're talking about overcoming fear and anxiety. Now, I just want to ask you a question since you have a amazing booming magazine right now, right? When you first started off, was it any fear with starting that magazine, or how was that process for you?
Oh, absolutely, there was fear. Actually, it marinated in my head for a long time before I made a move because of the fear and not knowing what to do, how to do, just having a dream and a desire to get it done. And then I was going through a troubled time in my life, and I wanted or looked for motivation, and I couldn't find enough. So I felt, the Lord saying that was my time to move forward so that it would not only inspire myself, but others as well. So I created a blog and getting over that fear of getting a web designer and all the putting all those pieces together. And then once it was done, I kind of, I could sigh a little bit, a sigh of relief, like, oh my God, it's done. But it really was so much more work ahead, even when I launched the first blog.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And so just the concept, I heard you say that you allowed it to marinate in your head for some time. Was it like a long period of time? Was it like a couple of months, a couple of weeks, a year, 2 years? And how long did you allow that idea to just lie dormant before you said, you know what, I am going to step out and I'm going to do it? How long did that process take?
Well, I think it was probably for me. I think it was quite a bit of time. I definitely
Okay.
was more than months. It may have been even a few years.
Oh, wow.
I'd always wanted to produce a publication, and so I knew that was going to be a lot more work. So I wanted to just kind of start with a blog. It seemed like it would be a lot faster to get done and a little less stress and
Mm-hmm.
easier to do. And I just felt like it was just time. When you get that feeling like, okay, you've been having this idea, you've been praying to God to give you something or an idea or, you know, just kind of guide you on it. And I just felt the Lord just said, okay, I already gave it to you. What you going to do? So it was time for me to move forward.
Okay. Okay. And so, with that, with it being time for you to go ahead, step out there, and move forward on that, have you ever found other times in your life where things were just a little bit more fearful, or there was a lot of anxiety in order for you to move out or step out or do, just get away from that, whatever that was? And if so, how did you go about overcoming that particular fear? Because I just heard you say, well, the Lord impressed you this time. Like, you just need to step out and do what I told you to do. And you said, okay, I just couldn't resist it anymore. And I just stepped out there. But have there ever been times when, even though you knew that you should do X, Y, and Z, but there was still this level of fear that was there that caused you not to move out? And if so, the second part to that question is, what was the motivation at that point to make you just step out there and do it anyway? And the process with it all, how did that work?
Well, I guess for me, I've always had these grand ideas since I was a kid, and they would be a lot bigger than many other people's ideas. So I just believe in, the power of God, and that,
Mm-hmm.
when He gives you an idea, even if you don't have all the resources, or you think you don't have all the resources,
Mm-hmm.
that He will give you the provision for your idea.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started Courageous Woman, the print publication, I was going through a divorce. And so I had already a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, but I knew that it was time for me to grow. It was time for me to step out on faith. It was time for me to make massive moves because that was part of my healing process.
Mhm.
And so I decided that I'm going to do publication.
Mhm.
You know, I was in a restart of my life. I left my situation with one suitcase and a child and relocated back to my hometown with my family. And it was there that God just spoke to me. It's like it's just time. You have everything. You're praying for something that you already have. You're already equipped with whatever you need. And so I had a friend who had a thriving publication in another state, and I asked him, what do I need to move my magazine from blog to print publication? He said, well, you're going to need at least $30,000. And I'm like, geez, I don't have $30,000. I have faith and belief that God gave me this, and He knows that I don't have $30,000.
Mhm.
So I just began to realize that I needed to activate every skill, like throwing spaghetti at the wall, take out every skill, resource, and get this done. I didn't have $30,000. I looked at my account and I was missing some zeros. I had $30. And
Wow.
so I was able to take that $30 and flip it around using my skills, educational background, and created a way for me to get that first publication done, and we distributed 4,000 copies because I just had to say, okay, I'm getting over this fear. I'm going to jump in and do it. And I just leaped, and that's what it took. Sometimes it's the making the move part. It's
Mhm.
the leaping part. It's the having the faith to do those things. It's what's going to get you going and getting over the fear. You just have to do it.
Yeah. And I hear you saying that you, although it didn't look like it, you knew you had a word, that everything that you needed was already on the inside of you. I love when you said that. It's like you praying for something, but you have what you need on the inside, and I just need you to activate what you already have, right? And so when we're
Mm-hmm.
talking to other people that will be tuning in, and they may find themselves in some situations where they believe they have the word of the Lord, they heard, they have all these phenomenal ideas and these to do things, and they are on that spectrum that says, well, I don't have the resources, or I don't have the money, or I don't have this. And so, because they believe that they don't have them things, they allow the fear and to set in, which produces the anxiety. And so every time that they will try to even step out, they don't step out because of that fear or that anxiety that begins to bring about what? Panic. And so once individuals start to panic, it can keep them from walking in the faith, if you will, that they may need to walk in. So, Talisa, what would you say to those individuals who may find themselves in that predicament where they hear what you're saying and they agree with what you're saying, but for them, they can't move from the fact that I hear her. I even believe that what she's saying is true. But how do I get out of this place where I move the fear out the way, push the anxiety over, and walk out and step? What would you say to that individual?
Well, for me, it was about praying. I understood the power of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pray for myself. Sometimes we're looking for other people to pray for us, and that's good as well. But I had to learn to pray and ask God for help for me, for myself. And when I was going through the troubled marriage, I was praying to God for help. I asked Him for help, and I didn't realize when He actually sent me the help. He sent me the help in the form of women of God. And when I would meet them in the grocery store or just at different places that I wasn't suspecting to meet someone that said, "Hey, can I pray for you?" And so when I envision those women like soldiers. Because they came for me, they prayed for me, they cried with me, they counseled me, they got me up and ready to move. And so it was those scriptures, it was the prayers that they spoke over me, and me praying for myself. And so I encourage people to have that relationship with God, and to make sure that they are operating, not operating in fear, because fear, what they say, is false evidence appearing real. It is not. It is not of God. He didn't give us the spirit of fear. That's something that we're holding on to. And when you get that, I had to get that in my mind. Like, all that I'm having this anxiety, this fear. It's it's not real. It's me doing this. You know what I mean? You got to get that part in your spirit, in your heart. You know, when I was going through COVID, I overcame COVID in last this past January, and it was the hardest thing that I had ever experienced in my life. It was trying to take me out of here, but I had to keep praying while going through it, and praying and even asking people to pray for me. But I believe that it just wasn't time for me to go. And I had that long talk with God, and I kept talking. I kept reading scriptures. I mean, flat on my back, because I had underlying issues that it was trying to take me. And so I just kept believing and having faith that I am going to get through this. And that's with anything that I've had to experience, or start a business, or just the things with the magazine and different things that I wanted to do. I had to get it in my mind and my spirit that I am going to win. And that's what you got to do. You got to believe that. You got to dig down in yourself and believe that you can, whatever it is, and speak that over yourself. I can. I will. I am. And those are things that I had to say to myself, and continue to say to myself the things that I want to do.
Wow. Wow. That's good. I mean, because a lot of people uh don't believe that many things are possible for them, especially because I keep hearing you say, or I kept hearing you reference back to when you were in the situation with your divorce and you had some things going on in your life at the time that you were looking to start just your publication, and you started with something, well, let me tackle the blogging. And even when you went to your friend and asked, hey, I want to do this, so I know this is something that you're doing and it seems to be working great for you. Can you give me some tools or some insight onto how to publish or do my first publication? And when, the individual told you $30,000, you was like, nope, don't have that. So, but I do have this. So I'm hearing you say, although you were going through trying things at different point in your life, you did not allow the fear of what you didn't have to rob you of what you did have, right? And so, therefore, to me, I'm hearing you say, I was able to dig deeper within me to understand that the things that are obvious are not always obvious, right? So, for instance, it was obvious to you that your bank account, you said, was missing some zeros, right? And so you like, I didn't have 30,000, but I had $30. So you did not allow the fact that you didn't have the $30,000 to rob you of stepping out and moving, because I heard you say that if God actually called you to do something, then He is also going to make provision for that thing which He has placed in your heart to do. And people out there, they're going to hear this and they was like, yeah, that sounds good. But sometimes, Talisa, when we hear certain people talk about stuff, and then when they have a certain status quo or they have arrived in a certain place that we look up on, something on the inside of so many people feel as if it's not possible for them, or that worked for you, but that will never work for me. And what would your answer or your just say your tools be, or even your direction that you will give to those individuals that may believe like that?
Well, I always tell people that all things are possible. If God blessed someone else to have it, then why not you? Why are you? Who are you, and why are you different from someone who else who has, for instance, someone wants to be a movie star, but I can never do this. And they have this the dream and the desire, but what are you doing that's different? Are you not moving? Are you not taking acting classes? Are you not looking for an agent? Are you not doing the things that will get you there? If you're sitting back saying that I can or it's not possible, it isn't. If you're not making those type of strides and moves to get you there, God steps in when you make moves. If He give you the vision, He will give you the provision. That's just real. That's real for me, and I've held on to that my entire life. Even my kids have inspired me. My son's an actor on television, but when he was 9 years old, he kept telling me, and his face was through the roof, and he would say, "Mom, I'm going to be on this TV show." And I knew we were in Michigan, and the TV show was airing in California. And I'm like, okay, he's a kid. He has these ambitions and dreams, and he had was part of. I'm a playwright producer, so they were part of the production. So they saw the possibilities of doing or being an actor, a stage performer. But to be a television performer, you got to do some work, and you got to be in a certain location. We weren't there, but his face told him, "I'm going to do that." Even though I said, "Okay, all right, when you get older and you want to move to California and do that, that's, fine. I support that." He was at 9. He believed that he was going to do it, and that all because I told him he could do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and so his head was like, "Okay, you said I could do anything." He looked at the credits on television and got the address, and
Mm.
I said, "Boy, this is Burbank, California." But he believed in it so hard that 2 years later, he actually was on a TV show that he said he was going to be in because he kept believing and he walked his way into it on his own.
Wow.
And so I remember that always, how my kid at 9 years old spoke it into existence. You got to say it. You got to believe what you say. You can't keep saying, "I can," or "it's not possible," because God says all things are possible if you believe. So you got to believe. You got to take steps. You got to make moves. It's not going to happen if you don't.
Wow. Oh God. So you said something that I want to ask. I want to jump in here and ask a question too. And that's the fact that you have to speak it. You have to literally speak things, and you have to believe while you're speaking. What would be some things that you feel rob people not even believing even after they may speak some things? Because some people can speak things, and at the moment it sounds good, at the moment they're trusting in it, but what do you think, or have you ever experienced a time yourself where something came in to rob you of that very thing that you were believing for?
Um, I would say that again, like all things are possible. You got to believe. You got to reset your mindset if
Mm,
it's not on point with where you want to go. And the
yeah.
people around you, if the people you're surrounded by are not are not aligning up with where you want to go, then you have to remove yourself and put yourself in a position that your mindset is clear and it is empowering.
Mm-hmm.
You have to empower yourself with the steps and moves that you make. The number one thing is just believing in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Simply believing in yourself, believe in the fact that it is possible for you to achieve and overcome the fear and anxiety that may come in to rob you of that belief, of whatever
If
that
you can
belief is.
imagine it,
Uh huh.
then it can happen.
Oh, wow. Wow. Just imagining it can bring it to fruition.
And
That's
you don't
amazing.
stop. And it may not be easy. Her
Right.
mama said it may not be easy, but you got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing may be easy.
Yeah.
Nothing. Hardly anything that I've ever done was easy.
Mm-hmm.
I still work hard. I still work to achieve the things that I want to happen in my publication. I sometimes pull a 24-hour, work and producing a book or something that I believed. I never thought that I would write a book, let alone produce other people's books.
Mm-hmm.
But, and, there have been times where people would say or do things to give me some fear, but you have to learn how to eliminate those distractions.
Wow. I love how you said those distractions. I love that because a lot of times people will speak things to you that are contrary to that which you believe. And as you said, those particular things are distractions to come and rob you of what you're believing in. I like also how you said that, one of the things that we need to do is position our minds, if you will, to stay in a place where our belief system stay like on the thing that we are believing for, or that thing that we're looking forward to seeing manifest in our lives. And so many times we are connected to individuals that does not always see the vision that we see, and so they will speak things to you to make you feel like what you're going after is too far-fetched, or you got to go through all these different hoops, or it's just not going to be possible. But I love the fact that you did not allow somebody else's definition of what was possible to be impossible for you. I love that because you was like, although they say I gotta go, I keep going back because that spoke volumes to me. Although somebody told you this is the amount of money that you're going to need, you said, well, this is what I have, but I also pulled on my educational resources, some things that I could do so I could produce, and you produced over 4,000 copies, if I heard you right, for your first publication. That's
Mm-hmm.
powerful because a lot of people, Talisa, they would stop, you know, because they don't believe in themselves enough to know that although I may respect your opinion and what you said, I have to stay true to the vision that's on the inside of me. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
that when we come to that place, that's when we can really say that we're going to conquer the things or the fear, or overcome the fear and the anxiety that sets in, that tries to keep us from stopping. One of the things that I often tell people, to Lisa, is that fear will cause you to be immobilized. It will shut you down. You
Mm-hmm.
will be paralyzed just by fear. Like, it will keep
Mm-hmm.
you from moving forward on any direction, and you just will be in a standstill. And so,
Mm-hmm.
tell me any last thoughts or anything else that you would like to say to us just regarding the dynamics of overcoming fear and anxiety.
Well, when you have dreams, you have also the ability to make them happen. And I strongly believe that. I have watched people, especially my kids, because we're very close, very close to family. And my kids, I guess, I was a dreamer. And I guess it kind of rubbed off on my kids. And they tell me about these things that they want to do. And like my daughter, she's a celebrity photographer. But at first, she didn't have the faith and belief that she would do this. And I said, you're going to do that. And we talked all the time, and her work just began to blossom. And she began to believe more because I was encouraging her more. And eventually she believed it enough on her own. And that was the direction that she focused and she went towards that. But if she kept not believing, she wouldn't have once did that. She has done um um what's her name? I can't even think right now. She's done a lot of celebrities. A lot. And it's been amazing to watch her grow. So I just, I use her as an example all the time. If she was a kid that wasn't so, you know, believed in herself as much.
Mhm.
And she does now. She does Taraji P. Henson, that's her name. She just did her recently. And she's just super excited about it. And it helps elevate her faith. So I just tell people just whatever you believe and you dream, whatever, if God gave you a dream, it is possible. It is possible. If He gave it to someone else or bless someone else to do wonderful things, you can too.
Wow. And that is so true. It is possible.
You just got
And
to leap. Just get out there and go. Just
yes.
go. I mean, when I said I started, I was going through that troubled time, and it was hard to go backwards.